Yo, what is up? It's your boy Punisher 1564. Got a commentary for you guys, man. You see I'm 90 going against 91. But yeah, I got a commentary for you guys today, man. I'm gonna be talking about UFC and boxing and if a boxer can actually make it in the UFC. It's a big topic. And also I'm gonna be giving my dude Boonie a 101, man. So stay tuned, enjoy this, man. You see this intro right here, man. Oh! Yeah, look at the swag on this guy right here. I got on the gold right now. I'm straight plain blacking them. And you know what I'm here to do. I'm here to administer the smack down. Yeah, but yeah. See what's going on right now. See, I stepped the video game up. Coming in the ring looking like a champ, heavyweight Punisher. What are we doing right now? Going against my dude, Boonie Bishop. I think his gamer tag is Video Slave. And I actually got a chance to talk to him after the fight, man. He seemed to be a really good sport, man. And you know, he was definitely, I told him, you know, if he didn't want me to post the video, you know, I wouldn't post it, but, you know, he insisted. He said he wanted to hear what I had to say, so with no delay, you know, I went to the workshop, you know, stepped on my commentaries, as you can see already, and I'm going to go ahead and give Boonie a 101 from your boy Punisher 1564. Oh, man, this is going to be beast, man. What else? You guys notice I'm 15-1, and that one loss, I'm just going to explain this right here, man, because it's crazy. I put on the George Foreman punches, and I lost because of that. I mean, if anyone doubts me, if anyone thinks that that's a cheap excuse, just fight me with the George Foreman punches and let's see how good you do with them. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. let's record that video and just see how that goes. You know what I mean? But you know, I'm not really talking trash or like challenging anyone on that front. I'm just saying, you know, unless your only goal is to do jabs and straights to the head, you know, I wouldn't recommend the George Foreman punches. But yeah, here we are, round one. You see your boy looking like a beast right now. I got my red, white, and blues on. You know, definitely swagged out to the maximum. And I'm going against this dude named Boonie, man. And this dude right now is looking serious. And that's why I really wanted to get it on a commentary, even before I talked to Video Slave, because this dude's just looking like a beast. His record, I think it was like 10-3. So, you know, I don't know. He has a Try Me tattoo on his back. So, you know, and with it being my first heavyweight fight, you know, I wanted to bring you, you know, a fight against a dude that just looked like a straight animal, you know, because I mean that's really what I think a lot of the excitement in heavyweight is about, you know, just the size of your opponents and things like that. But yeah, so I'm gonna give Boonie a 1-on-1 in this one. First round, you know, through my time playing this game and in the prequel, you know, I always tell you guys, you know, round one is not about fighting, and it's really not. But you know, I've had so many fights in this game that it's just, I can get a read on people pretty fast, and Boonie was just giving me that read that, you know, he was amped up, ready to go. You could tell just by the way he looks, you know, he wants to go in the ring and brawl. So, you know, I pretty much did the old-fashioned hype him up. Just came in, you know, started punching super duper fast, you know, taxing the body a little bit and just backing up and hitting him with a power straight, and you see he pretty much paid for it. I pretty much do that a lot in the fight. I just do a little hyping up. See, I get him in there, and I just start, you know, really just taxing him like really fast, and then I'll just back out, hit him with the power straight. And that's a really quick way to put away a lot of your opponents in OWC when you're starting out. Because a lot of them, you know, they really go for it. You know, they really believe that you're really trying to go in there and you're trying to go in there and go all out, and they usually do the exact same thing as you. You know. Another thing I noticed in the first round, Boonie or VOC out there watching, I noticed that the first move that he hit me with was a double right uppercut to the body, followed by a right uppercut to the head. And that off the back was just a dead giveaway that this dude right here has a lot of XP in his uppercuts. So pretty much what I'm truly gonna do with this dude is I'm gonna just go inside, try to convince him to throw the uppercut, and I'm gonna go back outside, and I'm going to hit him with the power shot or just a light straight. And really, what I like to do in the early rounds is instead of going out and just trying to get the power straight right off the back, I really like to hit a light straight because it's a lot faster in the early rounds, and your opponent's reflexes are definitely a lot higher up. So I'll hit him with the light back step straight in the early rounds if I fight against a hype man. And I guess I don't really want to categorize this guy as being a hype man. I just would say he's the type of guy that loves combos, you know. So if I'm fighting against a guy that loves combos, you know, I'll get inside early in the early rounds and hype him up, you know, make him want to throw those combos, and then I'll just back out, hit him with the power straight. So that's pretty much what I've been doing with this guy. Another flaw, major flaw that I see in this game is, see, you notice how he leans straight back. That's a flaw that a lot of players, you know, in this game make. And I would say if you're gonna lean, you know, lean to the side a little bit. The only time you really want to lean straight back is when you're fighting against someone that throws uppercuts. If you're not throwing against a big uppercut puncher, I really wouldn't recommend leaning back, because as you can see, when I go down to his body, it really like reduces his block percentage to the body, and it opens him up for a lot of counters. So I'm just really taking advantage of that. But yeah, administering the smack on my dude Boonie. Oh man, and you see I'm just coming in. So in this commentary, man, I want to talk about UFC fighters and, you know, F a boxer. You know, can a boxer fight UFC? You know, because it's a really heavy debated topic, and you know, it's definitely something a lot of people like to talk about. You know, I think there's a lot of race, you know, stipulations involved in those conversations a lot of the time. I mean, obviously with boxing, you know, being heavily dominated by pretty much 100% minorities, and UFC, you know, which actually is in a lot of ways dominated by a lot of minorities. And, you know, I guess I'll say that kind of vaguely, like, you know, BJ Penn, you know, but then again, I try and take that back. I wouldn't say the UFC is more of a, like, what I've noticed, you know, you get a lot more like UK fighters, you know, a lot more Caucasian guys in there, and it seems like, you know, if you're talking with that on that subject with the racist person, they're just going to be like, there's no boxer that could ever fight UFC, you know what I mean? And then if you say it against a, you know, like a racist black person, a black person would say, man, any boxer would knock out any UFC fighter. But you know, today in this commentary, man, I'm gonna just leave that all out, you know, and I'm gonna give you guys my honest look on that, you know. Being someone who did keep up with UFC about a year and a half ago, you know, really got into it. Just give you my little 2 cents on that argument. I think that, you know, any fighting style that's been perfected in UFC is going to dominate it, simply because UFC is so young in development. It really is just now in this past year, you know, starting to attract, you know, purebred talent, you know, and there's a lot of evidence of this. If you look at, you know, any of the top UFC fighters, St. Pierre, Sylvia, BJ Penn in his prime, you know, you look at those guys, those aren't just dudes that, you know, woke up one morning, you know, they were a teacher and then they woke up one morning and decided to fight UFC. Like one of the guys that was kind of crushing a lot of dudes in UFC for a while, I forgot what his name was. He's one of my favorite UFC fighters, by the way. You know, these aren't guys that just went to, you know, some local gyms, you know, learned a thing or two about, you know, fighting and just win. These are guys that were actually fighting before UFC, that had perfected, you know, their fighting style. Sylvia is a prime example. He's a Muay Thai fighter, and he's not just a regular Muay Thai fighter. He's a champion Muay Thai fighter. And, you know, when he goes into UFC, I mean, the way that he's knocking dudes out, it's just like, it doesn't even look like a fight, you know, and that's because a lot of the UFC is like that. And the UFC is just really undeveloped, you know. in a lot of ways. It's kind of like OWC in this game. You get a lot of just, easy fights. It's just not really developed like it should be. The thing about boxing, though, is that boxing is very developed in a lot of good classes, weight classes. I mean, heavyweight, it's kind of definitely got a lot weaker. But, you go to middleweight, cruiserweight, lightweight, I would even say featherweight. You got tight competition. It might not be as glorious as it was once, but it is tight competition. And I think that if you take a thoroughbred boxer, it has to be the right type of boxer. Like, I don't think Floyd Mayweather would be a good person to fight UFC. But I do think someone like, I would say a younger Shane Mosley would definitely be a good person for UFC. Who else? Roy Jones, like a young Roy Jones would definitely be pretty good for UFC. Mike Tyson for sure would be good for UFC. And I think that if you were to take, A-class boxers, not like a lot of the boxers that end up going to UFC, they're like, oh, this is a pro boxer. They're really kind of washed up. They're really pretty much washed up. I've never seen a boxer in his prime boxing go to UFC. Bernard Hopkins would be a great UFC fighter. And the thing about it is, and the reason why boxers I think would be able to really put a huge dent in that sport is because of the reflexes. A lot of people don't understand that out of all fighting styles, boxers' reflexes, I think when it comes to reflexes, I think boxing, there's a different height of reflexes that are required for boxing. I mean, Roy Jones showed it to you. Who else really shows it? Floyd Mayweather shows it to you. Manny Pacquiao, he shows you his really good, keen sense of offense. And a lot of things, too. Another thing, too, is that the weight of the gloves when you're fighting in boxing are a lot heavier than UFC. So I definitely do think that a boxer could go into UFC and really put a dent. I mean, he would definitely need to learn, wrestling techniques for sure. He's probably going to have to train for about a year or maybe a year and a half or whatever. But I definitely think that the right boxer could put a serious dent in the UFC game. So, buddy Boonie, go ahead. He hits the pavement once again. And man, there were some other points about that. Oh, another thing too, I really don't like is that, the UFC, it's like, and please do not say James Toney, because everybody knows James Toney went in there to collect a paycheck. But the thing that I don't like about the UFC is that it seems like whenever there's a big boxer name going to UFC, the first thing that the UFC people in the UFC are like, oh, we're gonna put him up against Sylvia. Oh, we're gonna put him up against BJ Penn. Oh, we're gonna put, you can't do that. You really, if you want a boxer to really establish themselves or to actually be able to put on a fight in the UFC, you have to match him up and groom him as a fighter. The guy Brock Lesnar is a prime example. He fought in Pride Fight, against a whole bunch of bums, and just really he needed to be groomed. Even though he was a world-class wrestler, he needed to be groomed, and that's why he's at the top now. The thing about it is, and the reason why I don't think you're going to be able to see any, A or even B class boxers in UFC for a long time is because I think UFC just has this kind of stipulation where, if we're going to fight anyone from professional boxing, we're going to give our best, because I think that there's a big pride thing on the line. I think that, UFC in general does not want to take the risk of losing against a boxer, And like I said, though, every boxer isn't made for UFC. Lennox Lewis, I really couldn't see him doing UFC. He's just a little too big and slinky. But, definitely like Zab Judah, I think would be good for UFC. Mosley would be good for UFC. Tyson, of course, would have been good for UFC. Bernard Hopkins is perfect for UFC. Winky Wright, definitely good for UFC. Trinidad, perfect for UFC. De La Hoya, I don't think so. But, that's pretty much that. So, yeah, you see Boonie hit the pavement. And your boy Punisher gets another W in heavyweight. I'm trying to bring some respect to the heavyweight class, you feel me? Because, trying to bring some respect over here, because I've noticed a lot of good players are kind of creeping in here getting easy W's. So your boy Punisher had to come through and change the game. But, yeah. So, yeah. Do it again. Can boxers fight UFC? I think so. You just got to get the right one, and you got to groom them. Video slave, man. I hope this commentary helped you out a lot, man. It's your boy Punisher 1564 signing out. Peace.